I saw something in my boyfriend's house, and ever since I have never been the same. Story time. So before we actually started seeing each other, we were just friends from school. We were in the same class, so we practically knew each other. And one thing about him is that he used to look so different, and people picked on him, people bullied him. He would turn up to school with bruises. He'll be covered in bruises. When you ask him, he'll just make up a story and say, he fell down the stairs, or he's clumsy, and the house dog bit him, their cat scratched him, and all sorts of excuses. And one thing about him is that he was never allowed to bring friends to his home. I knew where he lived, but no one was allowed to actually go there. And his parents were never really much around. Anyway, I started noticing pattern of him disappearing for months at a time. First time it started with days, then went to weeks, then months. And when he reappears, he looked very different, as if something had happened to him, as if he was sick, and he wouldn't even be acting like his normal self, which is quite alarming. Fast forward, he asked me out. I just didn't want to be boyfriend and girlfriend. I just wanted to be friends. But I felt sorry for him, and I considered, and we started dating. As soon as we started dating, not even up to 3 months, he disappeared. I had no idea where he had gone to. I'd gone to his house, he was not there. I asked the neighbors, and they said that they moved out. I rang him, his phone is not going through. I sent text message, I sent him messages on social media, to no avail. I didn't find anything. Anyway, I moved on. Then years later, I received a DM, and it was from him. I didn't recognize the profile because I'm not friends with them, but he said that it's him, and he is back in the area and he wants us to reconnect. I was super excited, so I decided to meet him up. When we met, he looked completely different, but he also acted like, not himself. It was as if he was someone else's in his body. Anyway, I did not really, think much into it. And also, I didn't want to be asking him because what I remember, he used to be quite reserved and he didn't want people asking him too many questions. Anyway, after that meetup, we decided to meet up again and again. Then he asked me out again. Of course, I was single, so I agreed. We started dating, and then one day, he decided to come to my house. I asked him, so when we started dating, I invited him round to my house. At this point, I live on my own. He came round a couple of times, but I noticed that anytime he comes and leaves, there's always something weird happening in my apartment. Things would be moved around, things would go missing. And, I didn't really want to accuse him, so I left it at that. But then it became a repeated pattern. I didn't know how to tell him, so I decided to tell him that I would come and, visit him at his house. At first, he was hesitant. He didn't want me to come visiting, but then he agreed. I went there one day. When I got there, it looked